to Chat and Wine.
I'm Sonal.
I'm Keena, and today we are going to talk about the Divorce, Dissolution and Separation Act 2020 that came into force on the 6th of April 2022.
Yeah. That's weird. Why did they say 2020 and it come over?
Because I think that's when the act
passed, got royal assent or whatever.
So they've been talking about since 2020. That was,
Yeah.
and then it's got to go through all the different stages of Parliament to become an act, to become law. So anyway, it's, in my opinion, it's a great improvement because I have, unfortunately, got divorce experience and I know how difficult it can be. And having said all of that, my situation was quite easy compared to some. But at the time, if I remember correctly, you could only get divorced on grounds of adultery, unreasonable behavior, and 2-year separation.
Okay.
So obviously, so either you had to come up with one of the reasons. So even if the person wasn't unreasonably behaved or there wasn't any adultery, so then the only option left was 2 years. And that is an awful long time. So they've reduced that down now. They've said in this new act that it can be done within 20 weeks, which is about 5 months.
So is that like an option? Like and you can put that option down, similar to when you had the 2-year option, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, so now you have the option of a no-fault divorce.
Okay.
So, because we all know when couples have been together for, whether it's 20 plus years or in my case 10 plus years, it's a long time and people can change in that much time. Things can happen, whatever it is, and you grow apart. If you've grown apart and you've both decided that being together is not working, then there should be, in my opinion, an easier way to get out of it. So having a no-fault divorce, so not having to say it's your fault that this has happened, that's what brings in the fighting, right? You take the blame. No, you take the blame. It's
another issue to then have an argument over, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if it's a joint decision, then it's helpful to have this no-fault divorce option. And then it means that you can carry on and make positive changes. And obviously, if you've got children involved, that you're making sure the children are looked after in the correct way. And both parties are financially stable. And you're working together to get an amicable end. And that's a fantastic addition. The fact that it can all be done in 20 weeks, it's a minimum of 20 weeks, it probably takes a bit longer, and it sounds like you can do it online. Has it just become that much too easy now?
And to get divorced. So, to be fair though, when you think about it, okay, I think divorce rates, if I'm not mistaken, I think are going, they were going very high, and now I think they seem to have decreased. If I'm not, I
think less people are getting married. I genuinely do think less people are getting married.
Yeah.
I think before the divorce rate was 1 in 3 or something ridiculously high. I was getting that way. But I just think, I know of a few people who have chosen just to live together and not get married, because some people get married to have children because they don't want to have children outside of wedlock. Others don't care. And that whole big thing about fairy tale wedding and big white dress and being a bride, a lot of women, I suppose, with feminism, women's lib, they're not into it. And then you've got the LGBTQ plus coming in, so same-sex marriages coming in.
But I think they're under the same rules as this new change as well, isn't it? If they get divorced, it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, same regulation.
Yeah, same regulations, yeah.
So whilst I think it's a really good thing that that's happened, there still remains the whole financial implication for any one couple to split up. There has to be enough money in the pot for both people to be able to move on.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, everything doubles
without the lawyers taking a big chunk of that money out.
This is great. So the fact that you can do it now, apparently without a solicitor.
Yeah.
Though you may need legal advice if you've got a lot of assets, etc., to sort out. Then you should.
Or children, I guess, involved, and that gets a bit messy.
But you see, this I'm saying. If you didn't have any of that, it was all sort of pretty much decided between the two of you. Then you know how you want things to work, and that the other person was going to help you get on with stuff. Then you don't really need to have divorce becoming the very most difficult thing happening. Well,
I have to admit, I think I'm 100% behind it. Yes. I think it's so wrong to make it so hard and so difficult, because the only people then that win are the lawyers.
Yes.
The legal teams that earn loads of money off people arguing, fighting.
Yeah.
And all it causes is more fights. I think if you know you want to get divorced,
and both are on the same page,
and you're both on the same page, it shouldn't be such a hard process.
Yeah. And therefore this no-fault divorce is the thing.
Works a lot better.
But it is controversial because people are saying marriage has now become nothing more than just something people do for the function, for
tax reasons.
Oh, well, there is the tax reason, but that's maybe not a bad reason. The reason where young people are wanting to get married because they want that fairy tale wedding, because they're too much into they've grown up on Disney and all they can see is or Bollywood movies where your one aim in life was to have this big, massive, lavish wedding, and then once you've done it and the shine's gone off and real life hits in, and then you think, hang on a second, it wasn't just about that fantastic day or week or 2 weeks or whatever an Indian wedding would last, or any wedding would last. It's actually a lifelong, lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
And by making it so easy to get out of it, are we making marriage worthless?
Yeah.
Should marriage still exist?
Well, it's funny. Is it outdated, I think, marriage now?
Is it outdated?
Yeah.
Well, it's so easy to get in, so easy to get out. So
things are changing, and I think they're changing for the better.
Oh, I 100% agree as well.
And the more you think about it, think, what is the point of marriage, really?
What is the point of marriage?
Apart from, obviously, tax reasons. But then again, that's just law. Law can change, right?
Yeah. And should they make it that if you've lived with somebody for 20 years as partners, you should still have the same privileges, tax privileges, as married people.
So maybe put a time limit on having the advantages of those tax things rather than...
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. It shouldn't be as soon as you start living with someone, because people can...
But I guess it's probably easier for us only because we don't have marriage as such in... Well, we do in our Hindu thing, don't we?
What do you mean?
They say it's you're sworn by God or whatever to be faithful to each other and look after each other.
Yeah,
all that
7 generations if you go with the Hindu custom. It's not just one bloody lifetime. You're going for it for 7 generations. So imagine you mess up once, you're messing up for 7 generations. It's rubbish. I'm so sorry. No offense to Hindus. I mean, I'm a sort of Hindu myself, but, not fully practicing, born into it. But, I don't practice it to its full extent, do I? But I don't want to be stuck with the same person for 7 generations. I'm not sure I want to be stuck with the same person for 7 decades. I mean, it's a lot of time with just the same person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people might say, hi, what is she saying? Bagdi gayi che chokri. No. You know what?
It's too late.
People are thinking that, okay? They've been with their partner for 20, 30 years and they're thinking...
and to be fair, you can see it now. Okay, there was a time before, in the old days, when I say a few years ago, you're thinking, they've been married for 25 years or whatever. Yeah. Why now? They said, what nonsense? What could have happened? But it does. People change.
Yeah, and that's exactly when they change.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about when people get divorced after 25 years.
Yeah.
If they didn't know it by now. But the whole point is they knew it. They carried on. They carried on. They had the kids. They got the kids through. Yeah. Then the kids left home and bang.
Yeah, and either the guy goes through some midlife crisis or the woman has menopausal issues that's causing huge issues and clashes.
Yes.
No one can understand or see, and learn to resent each other.
Yes.
And it's horrible.
Yes.
So why carry on like that?
Why carry on? Yeah. Life is too short.
Exactly.
You can get out now.
And it shouldn't be so hard. Why am I then paying thousands to some legal team when we both agree, we both know what you want? That's what I think. You go into marriage as adults. Think you should be able to come out of it
as adults. And you should
not be dictated to,
and without having to sling mud at each other just for the sake of some paperwork. Yeah. And you know what? Mediation is really good. You sit down, you divide your assets yourself, you sort out who's having what. And that there's a lot to be said for that. It should be straightforward to people. In fact, we've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy, and in that, when Derek and his wife, whose name of Addison, they just went to that meeting. He said, you have that, you have that, you have that. That's it. Job done. 5 seconds. Everybody's out.
Absolutely.
Sorted. You draw up the papers. That's your job. And that's what it should be. Yeah. We want out. We both want out. This is how it should be. But when I know there is difficulty when women... It tends to be women who, have stayed at home to look after children, whatever, and then if that comes to an end, to then move out, to be able to move into something.
And be financially independent.
Is very, very difficult, and whether it's fault or no fault divorce. So a lot of people do this thing. Also, if you have children, they don't want to upset the children by having the children move every other weekend to different parents' houses. So they... What do they call it? Nesting? Bird something? I don't know. Maybe it's nothing to do with bird nest. I don't know. But it's where the family home is where the children stay and the parents move around. So they get like a 1-bedroom flat or whatever they can afford. They get a second property where normally the dad goes to live during the week. And then at the weekends, when it's his turn to come home, mum goes there. And
that's not a bad idea.
Well, you think it's not a bad idea until the practicalities work out. So in the week, if dad's then found somebody, So I think one thing that I'd seen is, so every Friday he has to put the sheets in the wash, and then he leaves to come to the family home, and the mum goes there, so then she puts the new sheets on because they're washed and dried by then. And then when she leaves on Sunday, she does the same. She puts the sheets in the wash, and then when he comes in, so they swap over. And then, I don't know, I suppose...
Oh, that is too much hard work.
Well...
I wouldn't trust anyone to do my sheets anyway.
No, exactly.
So, yeah.
You would not survive this.
No.
And then the thought that if they've got another partner and that partner's coming and using that bed, and then it's weird. It sounds perfect for the kids, but it's really messed up for the parents.
Yeah, because I guess divorce is hard for that reason too on the kids, because they're then being lugged around different places, and it's hard.
And they are, and it is hard for them. And for that, you will be eternally guilty.
Yeah.
That's the guilt.
Yeah.
The guilt is nothing else, maybe, but the guilt is what the kids have to endure.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it makes them stronger. They get really good at packing.
They have 2 homes.
They have 2 homes. You know, if you're lucky enough to make it comfortable at both ends, then they have different lives, and they do adapt to it. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Yeah.
And yes, kids are the biggest casualties of divorce.
Yes, yeah.
And do not go into it lightly.
Yeah.
Because yes, the children do suffer. They do. And I think any child would prefer that their parents stay together.
If their parents are happy together.
Do you not think they'd rather their parents stay together regardless?
Definitely not. Definitely not. If you're not happy and your kids see it, they do not want you to be together. Every child I know that has been in a situation has said, you should have gone. Shouldn't have stayed together.
Do they really mean it though? Or is that just something they say?
No, I think it's quite genuine. Quite genuine.
Yeah, I think if you...
Because you want harmony in your house. You want a peaceful house. You don't want
tension,
angst in there all the time. It's horrible. Who wants to live in a house like that?
No, and treading on eggshells.
Exactly. That's not home then.
Yeah.
That's not a home.
No, it's not a home.
Yeah.
It is true, and if you can do it right for the kids. Whatever works for you, whether having this shared property that the parents move from, or so that the kids aren't moving, or whatever works for you. Everybody's situation is going to be different.
Yeah.
But the good news is that if you need to get out
you can.
There's an easier way to do it now.
Yeah.
So I'm 100%.
And also you think about abuse and things like that. People now not having to wait for 2 years to be separated.
That's right. So in those situations, it's really important that they can have a quick exit. But
they can get out quickly without having to... And again, no blame too. They can just get out, basically.
They can just say, I'm not saying that you did this, you did that.
You don't negotiate it.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're leaving. And within 5 months... they could be free
finished,
of each other.
done, yeah.
Well, but it's never that easy in abuse cases.
But I guess, but it just takes away that higher risk, if you know what I mean, of more contention and more issues and arguments.
Yeah. Well, whilst it's not a happy subject, and obviously it's not, it would be much nicer if there is a happily ever after. But when the happily ever after does turn into not so happy,
you need to keep.
But we need to keep the ever after.
Exactly. No, you need to be happy.
You need to be happy. Then I don't think people, and you'd probably say it's easy for me to say because I did it, but maybe it's because I've done it and I know how hard it is and I know what implications it can have on everybody around you. I would still say if you're not happy, then you do need to find an amicable way to get out.
Yeah.
And because life's too short.
I agree.
So whatever situation you're facing, hopefully not too much, but until the next time.
Take care.
Yeah, speak
Bye.
to you then. Bye.